Hey, Giants, gonna muse. Gonna muse again. That's what I do, but this is what's on my mind. So I'm gonna share it today is 7 phrases that are positive phrases that are actually toxic. Uh, Things that we say to people when things are hard. Uh, I've gone through some challenges this week. I've got a friend that's going through challenges. What I have to do is be careful not to put over there so much positivity that we're ignoring the challenges that we're facing. And so acknowledging what is powerful. It's just an acknowledgement. That's not what it doesn't mean that it's great or we love it or anything like that. So I want to go through these 7 phrases that we think are positive. We want to say these to people and we say them and we're like, yes, I'm helping out. It's like just dropping a coin in their jar and we think we've saved them. It's like, here's the one positive thing and I think it's going to help you. But then they walk away and they've told you all this stuff and they feel invalidated. And so let's go through this list. So one that we can start with is you just have to be positive. You say that to somebody, you just have to be positive and things will turn around. Sometimes I want to punch people when they say that. You just have to be positive. Well, I've tried to be positive. This is really hard, and the emotions are intense. Um, what we're seeking in that when we're sharing our emotions is that we want some validation. Like, yeah, that sounds really hard. That feels uh, challenging. That I'm sure in a situation like this, I would probably feel the same way. It's pretty hard to be positive in a situation like this. And so, really, just validating where they're at instead of saying just be positive and things will turn around. Really validate their emotions. Yeah, that does sound challenging. I could imagine I would be in the same boat. That empathy goes a long way because it helps us recognize that we're not alone. We're not the only ones feeling this. So, another one, stop being so negative, right? Uh, Negativism. I'll make up a word here. Maybe we'll do it that way. A lot of people that are depressed are real about what's going on in their world. They see reality a lot more than people who are happy. In fact, they find that people who are happy tend to be a little more delusional about reality, which is fun, right? It feels good. And so reality is just setting in with it is what it is. And so depression can feel really heavy. So stop being so negative. Well, it's hard to do that when you're seeing things as they are. Depression is an opportunity for us to really step back from the situation and try to find a new solution. A lot of times we put the energy into it and depression has us pull back. And so we get depressed and we get sad. It feels hopeless. And there's this despair. Despair comes from the word from desperar. Esperar is Spanish or Latin for hope. And so despair is to be without hope. And so when we despair, we're actually losing our hope for our future. And so in a situation where things are super challenging, to say to somebody, don't be so negative, really doesn't validate where they are. And it doesn't do anything for their last loss of hope, their despair. So in a situation, you could say instead, look, it's normal to feel what you're feeling right now. Normalize it. It's normal for you to feel like that. It's okay for you to not be okay right now. What you're going through is hard. And again, relate it to yourself if you can. I've gone through things like that. It's challenging. I felt the same way, and I can relate. It feels like it's never going to end. Hang in there. I know you can handle this, but not from a space of positivity so much as support, right? That's what we're looking for. So how about this one? Never give up. Sometimes we do give up. There have been things that I've given up on, and to say never give up, when you've given it your all, you've fought. There are times where the best thing you can do is give up. I look at my divorce as an example of this. Is my wife and I at the time, we fought and we fought with each other, but we also fought to keep the marriage together, and it was getting worse. And to say never give up, um, it it wasn't going to end up well for us. It was the best thing that we could do in that situation was to step away from it. And so we did. And so really just supporting somebody and just being there, it is okay to give up sometimes. The outcome might be different than what you had in mind. So you might walk away from that. We could change the wording on it. Maybe it's not giving up. How about this? So you should look for the good in the situation. That's really hard to do when you're in the heat of it, when your light is shadowed by what's going on in your world. To look for the positive, you might not have the capacity to even see the positive. And so it's hard to see good in a situation sometimes, but we can make sense of it, right? We can understand it. We can accept that it is what it is. We can acknowledge it. Those are things that we can do. We can make sense of it. Why is this happening? Well, there are some reasons for it, but not going into the identity of who we are. It's just more of acknowledging that it's there and it is what it is. And so giving space and grace for that is important. Here's another one. I'm sure it's not as bad as it seems, right? Maybe it's not so bad, but it might be overwhelming. It might feel hard. I could see how that would feel challenging. I could see how you would be overwhelmed in this situation. Hang in there. I know you can handle this. I'm here to support you. I'm your friend. We got this. Let's get through it together. You can get through it. Let's do it. You've done hard things before. What are some hard things that you've done? It's not necessarily that we're shunning what is. That's the big goal with all of these, is to not to ignore or to put down what is for that person, because their truth is that this is truth. This is what I'm experiencing. So it is my truth. It is my belief. It is my vision of this world and view of this world. So to undermine that takes that away from them. To acknowledge it and then work toward a solution. That's what we're trying to do, because we want to re-engage with life. Here's another one. There are worse things out there in the world. Man, how many times have you had people say that? Well, there's starving kids in Africa. I had my mom would say that all the time. Eat your food. I don't want to eat my food. They'd say something along those lines. There's people who have it worse. They do, but it doesn't change what you're experiencing. Your experience for you relative to what's going on in your life is the hardest thing that you're facing. And so giving grace to that and space for that in others, especially if somebody comes along and we want to support them, then we want to give them space for their emotions, and then work to help them to re-engage with life into something that would create a change and a difference for them. Here's another one. It will all be okay. Something you could say instead of that. It's going to be okay. Everything works out. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, if we look at it, sometimes it doesn't feel the same. Sometimes it is different. And just know that no matter what goes on for you in your world, this is something you could do instead. Just know I'm here. Even if it didn't turn out okay, just know that I'm here. I got you. Okay. We got each other. Let's do this together, one step at a time. The big thing that I see in this, for me, especially when I get into challenges, I don't want positivity necessarily. I want acknowledgement. I want to know that I'm not the only one going through this. I want to know that I'm not the only one, that I'm not crazy, right? And so to have that space for somebody to say, look, I get it. I get where you're coming from. I have some understanding about what you're going through. Let's take care of you. Let's look at some ways to get peace into your life again. The peace got covered by what's going on. Peace never went away. It just got covered. And so how do we get you back to peace? What are some things that we can do to support you? And I love that this community does that. In the Tribe of Giants, we see a lot of that. When somebody's having a challenge, we'll get the occasional things always work out. Things will be better, and I get where those people are coming from, but the challenge is that it undermines the experience for that person. To really acknowledge that person where they are. If I were in a bad situation and you acknowledge, look, I get that. That sounds really hard. I'm sorry you're going through that. It lets me know that I'm not crazy, that I'm just like you, that we all go through these challenging things and they're real and they feel emotionally taxing. And to have space for that actually can give some release and peace to the experience. And so practice that. Instead of saying the toxic positivity, try and change it into empathy and understanding and support instead. Look, what can I do to support you right now? And it's not a rescue. Hear me in that. I don't want you to come rescue me because I'm quite capable, but having support means that there's somebody working alongside me as I do my work. And so practice that today. Let me know your thoughts. I'm not seeing any comments here, but if you have thoughts around this, share those in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to YouTube yet, please do that and click the notification bell so that you're getting these notifications. I don't always know when I'm going to go live on these musings, but at least you can follow my journey as I work through my stuff, because I go through these difficult emotions. I go through stuff like this. I love the Giants book because it's this journey. It's getting ourselves feeling at peace so that we can create more in our world. And we create from that peace. We create from calm. And sometimes we push through and find solutions in the darkness. And so don't discount the darkness. The darkness can really serve you if you'll sit with it. And what you might be going through, if I were speaking to you and you're having a challenge right now, is to say, look, you're not alone. It's okay to not be okay. And all things do pass, but it might look a little different from what you knew before. And so just hang in there. Know that you're not alone. Don't quit. Don't stop. Don't give up on your own life. The only way for this to go really bad is for you to take your life. So please don't do that. If there's anything that we can do to support you that way emotionally, having conversations, let's do it. So I appreciate you guys. I love you. Thanks for watching this video. And go back through and look at these phrases that we say. I'll say these again, these 7 phrases, right? So you just have to be positive. Stop being so negative. These are the positive toxic phrases. Never give up. You should look for the good. I'm sure it's not as bad as it seems. There are worse things out there in the world, and it'll be all be okay. So play with those, practice those, find some phrases instead that you could say that would be more empathetic and supportive, and practice doing that, and also practice doing that with yourself. So you guys make it a great day, and I'll see you in the next